Now we go live to Davos and the World Economic Forum, where Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam is attending a conversation at this year's
demonstrations against anything under the sun, whether it's myself, my government, a social livelihood issue, lack of affordable housing. But on this particular occasion over the last few months, what we have seen in Hong Kong, which is totally unprecedented and unfamiliar to us, and every one of you who knows Hong Kong and loves Hong Kong, is that high degree of violence, that total disrespect for differences in opinion, that people were beaten when they hold a different opinion from some of these protesters or rioters. So to simplify all these protests as just fighting for democracy and for continued freedoms may have underestimated the situation. So similarly, for the government to provide a political response, because the protesters or these rioters wanted to see a particular response, will not be a very prudent way of ensuring Hong Kong's future and public interest. So every political demand has to be fully assessed against several important principles. One, whether it goes against this very important principle, one country, two systems. That is important to ensure Hong Kong's continued stability and prosperity, and also whether it will continue to enable us to preserve the rights and freedoms enjoyed by everyone in Hong Kong, not just the protesters and rioters. What about the bystanders? What about the families of policemen who have been intimidated and harassed throughout these months? Another principle is the rule of law. To demand the chief executive to ask the Secretary for Justice to grant an overall amnesty to everyone arrested over the last few months is totally inconceivable in the context of a rule of law, which we hold so dearly in Hong Kong. And finally, I could not agree to demands that simply will destroy Hong Kong's well-founded institutions, whether it is the judiciary, the law enforcement agencies, the Mass Transit Railway Corporation, which is represented in my delegation, the Airport Authority, and even the freedom of the press. While the media may be very unhappy with some of the things that the policemen have done during the course of operations amidst very difficult circumstances, with over 10,000 petrol bombs thrown at them or seized from university campuses, and policemen being injured with corrosive liquid, and arrow being intruded into the leg of a plainclothes policeman. So against those odds, if the media is unhappy that they have been treated not as decently as they would like to see, we will improve it. The police has promised that they will improve it through their public relations officer. But it is very important to ensure that the media is as free, as liberal as possible to report on these events. So despite pressure, I can tell you, Farid, I face a lot of pressure, not from the protesters, from the anti-protest camp, that I should control the journalists. I should make sure that everybody comes to my office or the police office for an identification document before they could go down to the site to report. I'd rather not, because that would destroy or undermine one of the institutional strengths in Hong Kong, that is the freedom of the media.